Sukhothai, Kenwisher, and Fedorenko 2024 refer to language not as the actual words spoken, written, or signed, but as the deeper ideas shared across all these forms. It is the representations that allow for the mapping between a thought and its linguistic form. Meanwhile, the brain's language system covers a large part of the outer layer and include areas on the sides of the front and side parts of the brain. Page 279, 2024. For most individuals, this system diverts to the left hemisphere of the brain. What is bilingualism? According to Bloomfield, bilingualism can be defined as an act to have native-like control of two languages, as cited in Wald, 1974. This further supports the statement from the book The Study of Language, where bilingualism is defined as having a desire to acquire a second language and being proficient in two languages. Yule, 2023. So how is bilingualism related to language and the brain? Research by Abu Talubi and Green 2007 shows that both languages are not stored in the brain separately, but actually shares the same area in the brain, especially the left hemisphere, which is responsible for language. According to Bialystok, when a bilingual person switches between languages, the brain uses something called cognitive control that helps the person to use and choose the correct language instead of getting mixed up in both languages. This process is known as code switching, where someone alternates between two languages in a conversation, as explained by Grosjean 2010. This shows that bilinguals rely on both their language ability and brain control system to communicate effectively. Here is a real-world example, an interview of an Argentine footballer, Paulo Dybala.
¿Cómo vas con el inglés?
Con mis compañeros y eso en el vestuario hablo, o sea, me entiendo perfecto con ellos, pero no me siento capacitado para hacer una entrevista porque a lo mejor pienso algo pero me va a costar decirlo, entonces ya ahí se me va a hacer un poco de quilombo, pero bien, lo tengo que mejorar.
Probemos una. How are you? Are you ready for the final?
I'm ready, yes, I'm ready. I'm born ready.
In this interview, we can clearly see that Paulo Dybala has undergone the code switching process, where he switched from using Argentine Spanish to English and not getting mixed up in both languages, responding to correct language used by the interviewer accordingly. Now that we've seen how the brain manages two different linguistic systems, let's take a look at how it handles competing signals in real time through dichotic listening.
The theme of this presentation is selective attention, which refers to how the brain focuses on certain information while ignoring others. According to Tanaka, Skoshad, and Rockamonis 2026, dichotic listening is a method used to study how the brain processes sounds in both hemispheres. It involves presenting different sounds to each ear to see how the brain manages and differentiates them. Dichotic listening is interesting because it shows that the brain does not treat all sounds equally. Instead, it focuses on certain information, which highlights the importance of attention. According to HAKIMI 2023, dichotic listening is closely related to language processing because the brain focuses on one sound while filtering out others. This reflects selective attention, where the brain prioritizes important information. Research also shows that people tend to remember sounds from the right ear more accurately, known as the right ear advantage. According to Westerhausen and Hakdal 2022, this happens because the left hemisphere is responsible for language processing and the right ear has more direct connection to it. To better understand this, we can look at a at a real-world example from this video.
Okay, Grace, you're going to hear 2 numbers in your right ear and 2 numbers in your left ear, and if you can please repeat all 4 numbers. If you're not sure, have a guess and do as well as you can. Are you ready?
8261 2510 4395 3681 9246.
Alright, based on the video, the child hears number from each ear separately. For example, she hears 8, 2 in the right ear, followed by 6, 4 in the left ear. After that, she is asked to recall all the number from both ears. We can observe that she recalls the number from the right ear more accurately compared to the left ear. This demonstrates selective attention where the brain prioritizes certain inputs. This also shows that even when sounds are presented separately, the brain still gives more attention to specific auditory information. In conclusion, diacritic listening helps us understanding how the brain processes sounds and how selective attention works in a real-life situation. We've discussed how we take information in. However, the output is not always perfect, even in a healthy brain. We experience small errors such as slip of tongue or the tip of the tongue stick.
Have you ever experienced a moment when you intended to say something but accidentally said something else? In linguistics, this is known as a slip of the tongue. A slip of the tongue is a minor error in speech that can often be amusing, such as messing up word order or selecting the wrong words while speaking. Not Quest 2025. According to cognitive psychologist and assistant professor of neurology, Dr. Nozari, 2018, says many of us occasionally use the wrong word or make speech errors, such as saying squirrel instead of chipmunk, switching sounds to produce New York rather than New York, or mistakenly calling a partner by a child's name. These kind of mistakes are not merely random quirks of language. Language and the brain examines how the brain organizes and produces language. When slips occur, they can reveal the speech planning inside the brain. The brain prepares sounds, words, and sentence structure before we speak. Therefore, when errors happen, this indicates that the planning can go sideways. Slips can happen at the sound level, word level, or sentence level. Similar types of errors imply that language is taught and processed in a structured system within the brain. This is one of the examples for slips of the tongue that happen in a real world.
Once upon a pine. 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 Once upon a pine.
In the video given, the girl is saying once a time a pine instead of once upon a time. This is one of the examples for slips of the tongue that happen in a real world. She is clearly struggling to produce the correct phrase. Instead, she repeatedly saying the wrong one. You can see her visible confusion and frustration when she cannot say the correct phrase. Her brain knows she is saying it wrong. However, her brain speech planning gets stuck in a loop, causing her to mispronounce it repeatedly. In the video, she just experienced spoonerism. Her brain swapped the beginning sound of upon and time, causing the 2-syllable change to a pine. The fact that she swapped the t from time with the p from upon indicate that the word time was already queued up in the brain before she even finished saying upon. This is because her brain was holding all the sounds for the whole phrase in its working memory, causing the sound accidentally cross with each other. In conclusion, this video is a great example for the accident of slip of the tongue.
Okay, quick question. What do you call that sacred beetle in ancient Egypt? Some of you might know it, some don't, and some of you feel like almost remembering. That almost remembering feeling is what we call the tip of the tongue phenomenon. First, I'll explain the concept of the tip of the tongue phenomenon, or TOT. According to SHAH and Wang, 2026, the tip of the tongue (TOT) phenomenon describes a temporary disorder in which individuals momentarily struggle with inability to retrieve a familiar word despite preserved semantic knowledge and a strong anticipation of immediate recall. Next, I'll explain the relationship between TOT and the tip. The tip of the tongue (TOT) phenomenon is closely related to language and the brain. According to SHAH and Wang, 2023, individuals in a TOT or TOT state can access the semantic meaning of a word but fail to retrieve its phonological form, leaving them with only facial signs such as the first or syllable count. This makes TOT not simply a memory lapse but a metacognitive experience of knowing but at the same time unable to articulate. From the brain side, the prefrontal cortex monitors retrieval attempts and produces the sense of knowing, while the left hemisphere contains lexical and phonological representations that, when insufficiently activated, it prevents full recall. The anterior cingulate cortex identifies the mismatch between successful semantic access and failed phonological retrieval, and together these areas demonstrate that tip of the tongue (TOT) states arise from a distributed network integrating language storage, executive control, and area monitoring. Now, let's look at a real research example from McMaster University led by Karen Humphrey. Let's go.
Ever been asked a question?
In ancient Egypt, they had like a sacred beetle. Do you know the name of that?
Where you know the answer, but you can't quite get it out?
You're gonna say it, I'm gonna punch myself.
So, the video starts with a scenario where volunteers were asked about the name of the sacred beetle in ancient Egypt. Participants were categorized based on whether they knew the answer, did not know it, or were in TOT state, which meant they were facing retrieval error. Those in the TOT state were given 10 to 30 seconds to struggle for the word before the correct answer, scarab, was eventually revealed to them. In follow-up tests conducted 2 days later, the researchers discovered that participants who had struggled longer in the TOT state during the first session were more likely to fall into the same retrieval error on the same word in the second session. I think that's all. While we all trip over our words occasionally, imagine if that struggle wasn't temporary. This brings us to Broca's aphasia, where the physical machinery of speech production is fundamentally damaged.
What is Broca's aphasia? Broca's aphasia is a language condition which leads to non-fluent speech and difficulty producing words, usually caused by brain damage and most commonly from a stroke. According to Kumagai and Yamaguchi, Broca's aphasia is a language disorder characterized by damaged speech production, usually linked to injury in the inferior frontal gyrus of the left hemisphere. Broca's aphasia basically is caused by damage to the left hemisphere of the brain, and the most common cases we found is stroke. So, how Broca's aphasia is related to the language and brain? Injury to the inferior frontal gyrus, a crucial part of the brain's language system, disturbs the ability to convert talk into spoken words. An individual with Broca's aphasia usually understand the ideas but struggle to express them fluently. Moreover, U 2022 notes that damage to the equivalent area in the right hemisphere did not cause the same effects. Thereafter, it being interpreted as evidence that Broca's area plays an important role in speech and language production. For example, you can see here.
Breathe. I did it once, is it?
This video shows that damaged Broca's area can cause a difficulty to speak fluently. The speaker knows what she wants to deliver, but because she is a post-stroke patient, it makes her cannot pronounce simple words like date, and that clearly. This happened because stroke damaged Broca's area, that the part of the brain responsible for speech production. This happens because Broca's area controls motor planning system of speech, which helps coordinate the movement of the lips, tongue, as well as vocal cords. When a stroke damages this area, the brain can no longer properly send signals to these muscles. As a result, speech becomes slow and incomplete. In addition, small grammatical words like and that are often affected because they require precise and rapid processing. This is why the speaker can still understand the language and the form of ideas but struggles to express them fluently. That's all. If broadcast is a struggle to produce a sound, our next concept is Wernicke's aphasia is opposite.
According to Forschung enrolled in 2025, Wernicke's aphasia is a fluent form of aphasia in which patients experience significant impairment in language comprehension while still being able to produce speech with normal rate, intonation, and also grammatical structure. However, their speech is often characterized by semantic errors which are incorrect word meanings, phonemic errors which are substitutions within words, as well as neologisms and jargon, resulting in speech that may sound fluent but lacks meaningful content. As reported by WebMD 2025, Wernicke's aphasia results from damage to the part of the brain responsible for language. More specifically, this condition is associated with injury to Wernicke's area located in the posterior region of the left temporal lobe, which plays a crucial role in language comprehension. Similarly, Cambridge Dictionary defines that the brain as the organ that controls thought, memory, and complex processes such as language. Together, these sources demonstrate that damage to Wernicke's area disrupts the brain's ability to process and understand language. As you can see here, this is the video related to Wernicke's aphasia.
Kiss. Show me how you love kiss me. There you go. Good. Show me how you sip on a straw. Show how the shop is Can you sip on a straw? See what a sip sticks. See what a sip sticks.
The clear real-world example can be observed in a video showing a patient with Wernicke's aphasia. In the video, the patient speaks in long, fluent sentences with normal rhythm and intonation. However, the speech contains random and unrelated words that do not form any coherent meaning. Occasionally, the patient also produces neologisms, which are newly invented words that do not exist in the language, as defined by Merriam-Webster. The symptoms occur due to the damage to the Wernicke's area, which is responsible for language comprehension. When the area is impaired, the brain is unable to accurately interpret and select appropriate words, leading to semantic errors and the production of nonsensical speech. In addition, disruption in language processing affects how sounds are organized, resulting in phonemic errors and the creation of new words. As a result, although the patient appears to speak normally, they struggle to convey meaningful information and are often unaware of their communication difficulties. We have seen what happens when the front or back of the brain is damaged, but what happens when the bridge connecting them is cut? That leads us to our final concept, which is conduction aphasia.
Imagine knowing exactly what you want to say. You can see the words in your mind, but your mouth refuses to form them. This is a reality for patients with conduction aphasia. According to AIDIL, SHAH, and etc., conduction aphasia is a notable and relatively rare subtype, different from more widely recognized broadcast and Wernicke's aphasia. 2035. Individuals with conduction aphasia are capable of speaking fluently and comprehending language effectively, but they find it particularly difficult to repeat words and phrases. The results, they are not only errors in producing words or phrases, but they are also difficulty in correcting them or not being able to at all. The most common cause is stroke, but it can also occur due to brain injury, tumors, or neurodegenerative conditions. You'll note that typically, this language disorder stems from injury or harm to the arcuate fasciculus and the left hemisphere of the brain, which is primarily responsible for language. Page 198, 2023. Subsequently, the damage of the bundle of nerve or the curved bundle that connects between Wernicke's and Broca's area may affect those areas of the brain, hindering the capacity to process analytical details necessary for speaking. Subsequently, the information that the speaker hears and comprehends is unable to be effectively conveyed to the area responsible for speech production. This condition is sensitive to cognitive load, indicating that longer or more intricate phrases worsen the challenges experienced in repetition. Now, let's hear the real-world example provided.
Repeat what I say. Say dog.
Dog.
Say bed.
I have one.
Say bed.
I have one.
Say the sky is blue.
Sky.
Okay.
As illustrates on the video, when prompted to say bed, the patient replies with I have one. This indicates that the brain comprehended the word or semantics and retrieved a related idea, but was unable to transmit the exact sound from the auditory center to the motor center. On the next part, the patient can only repeat the sky before pausing. This demonstrates that as the phrase becomes longer or more intricate, the connection deteriorates more rapidly. In a nutshell, a person with conduction aphasia is likely to recognize their challenges in communication, which can lead to feelings of frustration. If I ask you to repeat everything our group just said, you could do it because your arcuate fasciculus is working perfectly. Don't take that bridge for granted. Thanks for listening.